What if I told you that there is a tool used by figures such as Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate that you can use to generate infinite motivation? I know that you don't believe me, but by the end of this video you will understand how to use this technique and why it works. So let's get into it. So this is something that I discovered lately and I've been experimenting with and found to be really effective, especially if you struggle with internal motivation, so self-generated motivation. Even if you have ADHD, for example, or low dopamine in general, which is something that I really understand because I have myself, this will work very well for you if you're able to implement it successfully and use it correctly. And in this video, I go over how to use it successfully and also, of course, what the technique is and how it works. So this technique is about contracting or negotiating with yourself. And this is key if you're procrastinating, if you struggle with motivation, because what procrastination is nothing more than an internal conflict in which one part of you wants to do the activity and the other part of you doesn't want to do it. And so there is this back and forth between these two parts which doesn't resolve. And contracting with yourself is the way to resolving that conflict, reuniting the two parts into one, which results in unified action. So the first step is to pick a task that you want to accomplish. And the crucial thing here is to not choose an outcome, so a result that might or might not happen, but a specific action. So an example of this would be recording a YouTube video, or doing a workout in the gym, or doing a meditation session. So the important thing is that it's a clearly defined action. The second part is the contracting itself, and it is contracting with the part of yourself that doesn't want to do the task by finding a reward for which it is willing to do the task. And when this is done correctly and successfully, you will not have internal conflict anymore. With that I mean that there will not be one part opposed to the other. You will not feel anymore like you want to do the task but you don't at the same time, because those two parts will be reunited into one. And so your action itself will be undivided. And for this very reason, it will be much more smooth, much more direct and powerful. And the crucial thing here to make this work is to pick a thing that you really want, because that is what will actually make the technique work. Another thing to keep in mind is that the negotiation itself has to be really honest and truthful. You can't fool yourself into this process, if not it will just not work and you will still have the internal division. So you can almost see it as a negotiation with a stranger, and the stranger being the part of yourself that doesn't want to do the activity. You truly have to consider the other's motivation and needs and thinking, and of course you can do that because that is a part of your mind. So who can know it better than you yourself? When you finish the negotiation and you actually accomplished the task, the last and third step will be to take the reward, but only when the task is done. And I want to emphasize that because the main reason of failure for this technique is taking the reward before doing the action. And this personally happened to me many times. The mind will trick you into taking the reward before doing the task by, for example, rationalizing and telling to yourself, well, I already made the contract, I already made the decision, I'll just take the reward and then I'll do the task. But this is a really subtle deception because you're just lying to yourself. And if you're truly honest, you can see that when you do it. And seeing that will already be a success by your part, because in that way you will not fall for it and you will just stay true to yourself and to the contract you made. So now that you know the technique, I want to also give you a mind reframe, a language thinking reframe by Andrew Tate himself, which is really complementary to this technique that we just went over and will help you to be more consistent with it and to make it a little bit more easier. So the reframe consists in rather than telling yourself, I have to do X activity, tell yourself, I get to do X so that I can do Y. So X will be the activity and Y the reward. And this works because telling yourself, I have to do this, I have to do that, puts your mind in a situation where it is even less prone to doing the activity, because it doesn't like to be forced to do stuff. You can clearly see that with kids. Tell a kid, you can do this, don't do that, and will be much more prone to do it. And tell him, you have to do this, you have to do that. Impose it on him like you do with yourself in that case, and you will see how much it will resist the activity. So being a tyrant with yourself, imposing yourself stuff, doesn't work at all. It creates this internal conflict, which in the long terms burns you out and just makes your life miserable. And it's just not the best way to go about it. By shifting into negotiating with yourself, your relationship with yourself, with your own mind, will change for the better, and also your productivity and motivation will increase drastically. So try this technique out, implement it in your daily life, and let me know in the comments how it is working for you, if you have any struggle with it, any clarification. And other than that, if you're interested in changing yourself truly, and so changing your behaviors and habits, check this video out. And that's all for me. If you want to develop your body, mind, or raise your consciousness and be truly aware of yourself and reality, click the link below now for a free one-on-one holistic self-improvement coaching call with... Who is this? See you.